Hello, I'm still not Corey, and I'm also not having a very productive day, which is why I'm filming a video at 9 p.m. when it's dark outside, because didn't do anything else today. You've seen from the title and the thumbnail, this is another video about Steven Crowder, because oh boy, do I just love his content. Love it so much. Love everything that comes out of that man's mouth. But he said something about trans people, so let's find out if he's said something positive. Probably hasn't. No, he definitely hasn't. Definitely has not. Before I start this video, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It helps a lot. And also leave a comment telling me, have you had a productive day so far or not? Let me know. Go down there and tell me. Okay, let's watch the video.
Leftist TikTokers, they want you to know that you can refer to your daughter. This is where we are, okay? It's offensive to refer to your daughter as princess.
Before we even start, I bet you it is just one person that is saying this, right? It's one person that's made like one video and maybe some people replying to it or some people commenting on it. Way to blow it out of proportion. I promise you it's one person and he's saying leftist TikTokers as though it's this big movement amongst the left, this massive movement among the left that leftist TikTokers are saying, oh, you can't call your daughter princess. Probably just one person.
So I don't know if this is considered an unpopular opinion, but if you have a daughter, you need to stop calling her princess if you do. The way that Disney has branded the princess is based on her beauty as her most important asset.
Good.
Good. Yes. Okay. Right. I understand where this woman is coming from. Though so far in the video, though, she's not said that it's offensive. So good. I don't think it is offensive to say that your daughter's a princess. It's not offensive to call your daughter princess. Who's it offending? Your daughter. She's a kid. She's not going to be offended by it. Like, what she's saying so far is that, you know, Disney have branded the princess as her main asset being beauty, which is something Disney have kind of tried to steer away from in the past few years, you know, the past couple decades. They've tried to steer away from that. But yeah, the Disney princesses, they kind of did start off as being like, she's very pretty. That's her thing. She's a pretty lady. She sing good. Oh, she's so pretty. Quite a few of them have a lot, if not all of their value based on their looks, which isn't a great message to send to young girls. It's not just, hey, you can be pretty or you can be beautiful no matter what you look like. It's being beautiful is something that is important. And if you're not beautiful, then you are not valuable. Snow White, for example, she's real pretty and her stepmom doesn't like that. So she tries to have her killed. Because, oh gosh darn, she's so pretty. And the prince sees her and, oh, she's so pretty, I just gotta kiss that dead lady's lips. Mwah. She's alive now. Sleeping Beauty, what a pretty sleeping lady. She's asleep forever. I'll give her a little mwah, and she's alive now. So many, even Cinderella, like, you know, she goes to the ball. The prince is like, damn, what a hottie. Mwah. Oof, nothing like these ugly stepsisters, tiny little feet. Yes, thank you. Boom, she's a princess. In recent decades, they've moved away. They've given their characters more depth. They've given them something else besides beauty. Like, Tangled did that. Frozen did that. Moana doesn't even really talk about how she looks at all. Disney are moving away from that, in part because nowadays we realize that, you know, putting all of a female character's value in her beauty is maybe not a great message to send to the young girls that are watching it.
As her most important asset.
Good.
And the fact that Steven said good to Disney branding their princesses with beauty as their defining aspect, why is that good? Why is it good to have this whole sort of set of female role models for little girls to be just pretty? That's their thing, just being pretty. Obviously, newer ones don't have just that. They've got more than just being pretty, but why would it be a good thing for that to be the case? Why would it be good for beauty to be the defining aspect for role models for little girls? Because beauty isn't something that you can aspire to. It's just kind of something that you have, or something that other people say you have. It is defined by other people. There's not much that you can do about it other than, I don't know, like dressing up and conforming to what other people find beautiful. It's not really a great message to send to little girls. Hey, it's really important. In fact, it's the most important thing that you don't have, you know, a personality or a drive or passion of your own other than being beautiful. You gotta be real hot. You gotta make yourself look like what other people want you to look like. That is a really important thing for you to do. Love ya. There you go. Good talk, kiddo. Come on. It's not good. I don't even think he agrees with that. It seems like he wants to be a contrarian, so he's just disagreeing with her at every available opportunity without even really thinking about it. Because realistically, I don't really agree with her on that. I don't agree that Disney has made all of their princesses' defining attribute their beauty. I've said that already. I disagree with her on that, but I disagree with her for an actual reason. I'm not just saying good to something that isn't even actually true. I guess the reason I've spent so long talking about this is because it's evident that Steven Crowder in a lot of these things doesn't seem to really think. He just wants to say something funny or witty or just a quick retort. So, you know, just a quick good in there without even really thinking about what he's disagreeing with is like par for the course for Steven.
Also encourages the damsel in distress that needs to be rescued by a man.
Shut
and
it,
it doesn't
Cupcake.
focus on their intelligence or integrity or any other character trait. Why don't we call girls scientist, engineer, doctor? Like, why
My
does
wife
it have
plays
to
a
be
good
something
doctor.
cutesy,
Yes.
like, oh, princess, what do
Usually
you
involves a
need?
hammock.
Like,
I don't agree with the woman's TikTok at all, really. Like, I don't agree with where she goes with it. I understand the broader point of, hey, maybe we shouldn't reinforce calling our little girls princesses and pretty and putting all of their value in, you know, the superficial, in the cosmetic, in the aesthetic. I don't think that's something that we should be putting on little girls. I absolutely understand that. I don't think that calling girls princess is necessarily the biggest issue or really feeding into that. And again, especially since Disney have really kind of moved away from beauty being the defining aspect. There are Disney princesses that aren't solely defined by their beauty. Obviously Belle, which is not necessarily the best example given that her name means beauty. She is the beauty in a film called Beauty and the Beast, and what all the other townspeople see in her is being real damn pretty. But again, her defining trait I wouldn't say is necessarily her beauty, it's her intelligence. Like that's what she does. She likes to learn, she likes to read books. The thing that the Beast does for her in the film is give her a library. That's like a big moment. So it's not her defining characteristic. In fact, her being sort of a reader and an intelligent person is, I think, a more core aspect of that character. And I know that's not necessarily the best example. I know that beauty is still a massive part of her character there. It's literally what she is named for and what the film is named for. I know that, but it was 30 years ago. There's also Mulan as well, who isn't like defined by her looks really at all. She's defined by the fact that she went to war instead of her dad. That's her whole thing. And again, if you jump like 30 years later to now, we've got Moana, we've got the one from Tangled, Rapunzel, you know, we've got even Anna and Elsa. None of them are really defined by their looks at all. That's not really a part of their character at all. So, you know, Disney princesses are kind of moving away from that. So, I don't really agree with her conclusion. I understand her working, which is generally fine. It's just she's kind of gotten to a place which is, I wouldn't agree with it. But then again, I do agree with her core point of not teaching young girls that the only valuable thing that they can be is pretty. That is a solid point to make. I just don't personally think that the whole princess thing has a major impact on that.
no. My daughter's father called her princess yesterday,
Oh, no.
and I had to lecture him again because we do not use that term in this house.
My daughter's father?
Even my own sisters
hope you-
have called her
I hope he threw your
princess,
tuna
and I would tell
casserole
them,
against the wall.
Don't call her that. Maybe I come across as very controlling.
Yeah, I wonder why
but
he
I
left.
think it's a very harmful word, and she shouldn't look up to that term.
I almost want to believe that this woman is a troll. It feels just that little bit into so silly that it could be parody. And I'm just not sure. I just can't quite tell if she's faking it or if that's her actual beliefs. If it's her actual beliefs, then I don't really agree. Like, relax a little bit. Yeah, I don't think that calling your daughter princess as a sort of pet name is really a bad thing at all. I don't think it's gonna make her think that the only thing she should and could be is beautiful. Especially if you've got sort of those values being instilled in her in other ways. You can teach her that her kindness, compassion, intelligence, bravery, all of these other qualities are important too, while still referring to her as princess sometimes. It's fine, it's just a pet name. It doesn't need to carry all of that weight of past Disney films, especially with modern Disney films, and the fact that you can also tell her stories about princesses that are more than just pretty. You have the ability to do that. You don't need to get rid of the word princess in order to not have those values instilled in her. You can just teach her different values. That's perfectly fine. Both of those things can work at the same time. Calling your daughter princess and raising her to think that there is more to her life than being beautiful are not mutually exclusive things.
I hate you.
Yeah, but no, because we wouldn't want anyone to perpetuate, of course, the stereotype of princess. That's not something that we would ever want there. Yeah, you can be a little more timely there.
Yes. Yay! In something entirely unrelated to the LGBT community, Steven Crowder has managed to get in there and say, hey, The gays. Come on, man. Seriously. Try a little harder. How are drag queens expressing themselves through the medium of drag perpetuating the idea of princesses? How is that working? How is that relevant to what she said? You've taken a tiny little tangent and veered off so that you could just kick gay people, right? It is so transparent. It is so incredibly transparent that you really have very little to say on this at all. You just don't like gay people. Jesus, man. The reason that drag queens aren't perpetuating the stereotypes of princesses is because drag queens aren't princesses. They're queens, yes. That is not necessarily saying that queens, you know, the actual royalty, need to be pretty and have big tits and dress in the same way that drag queens do. Let me explain this to you very slowly and very simply, okay? Let's just do it so slow, so simple. Drag queens being called queens and performing a sort of heightened femininity through the medium of drag, they're not perpetuating the stereotype of princess. They're not even perpetuating stereotypes of queen, because drag queen and queens and princesses are different things. They're not the same. Okay, yeah, they share a word. They do share a word. I know they share a word. Well done, you got that. You caught that one there. I know the gays were trying to fool you. They tried to hide it. They tried to bury it down there under the word drag. Yes, the word queen is in there, and queens are related to princesses. They're not the same thing, okay? No one is saying to little girls, hey, look at this drag queen. See how they're performing a heightened femininity. That's what you need to do to be valuable. That's not at all what they're saying. Like, no one is saying to little girls, hey, my little drag queen, and expecting them to have the same values. That's not what's happening. Although, actually, calling your girl my little drag queen is hilarious. Someone should do that. If you have a little daughter, please start doing that. It is so hard to combat what he's saying here because it's so silly. It's so stupid. It doesn't even really make sense. How are drag queens perpetuating stereotypes of princesses? By being called queens and being hyper feminine and dressing in provocative ways. That doesn't hold water. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The point that the woman was making in the video is that in our culture, princesses, as in the idea of princesses in the media, like Disney princesses or princesses in children's cartoons, one of their core values, in fact, the thing that makes them valuable is their beauty. They're important and special because they're beautiful. Their beauty is often a driver of the plot. Because of all of these things, calling your little girl princess as a sort of pet name might not be a good idea because it might instill in her the idea that she is valuable because of her looks. And if she isn't beautiful, then she isn't valuable. That is the very simple idea that was got across in that TikTok. Now again, I don't agree that calling your little girl princess is necessarily going to do that, but that was the very simple idea that she was getting across. Calling your girl princess might lead her to value herself similarly to how we value princesses in media. That doesn't mean that anything related to princesses is giving negative stereotypes for princesses. You have so missed the mark here. It is hilarious. And I know that's not what you actually think. I know you're just trying to make an offhanded joke, like princesses, queens. It's still not good. It's still not funny because the joke isn't funny. You're just hitting out at drag queens because you don't like them. And the connection to the joke doesn't even really make any sense. It's a non sequitur and a non-funny non sequitur. It's kind of pitiful, really. It's honestly kind of pathetic. It's just very much not funny at all. Please, for the love of God, try harder. Every single time I make a Steven Crowder video, I genuinely have his fans in the comments defending his videos, but also saying, he's not funny. I'll give you that. I know he's not funny. He's not the funniest one on his show. I prefer it when the other guy takes over. But still, he tells it like it is. It is so funny to me that Steven Crowder defined himself online as a comedian. Like, that's in his bio or whatever, right? He says comedian. And even his fans don't necessarily think he's funny. Quite a few of his fans don't find him funny. They just like some of the stuff he says because he says bigoted stuff and they like hearing bigoted stuff because it makes them feel good about being bigoted. It's just fucking hilarious that he even calls himself a comedian. And before you come after me and say, Corey, you're not funny, thank you, you're wrong. But I am not someone that tries to say that I'm a comedian. I don't try and say that. I don't even try and say I'm funny unless I'm joking about it. Obviously, some people don't think I'm funny. That's fine. I don't care if you don't think I'm funny. I'm not laughing at Steven Crowder for not being funny. a lot of people aren't funny. Me included. I'm not funny. But I don't go around telling people I'm a comedian whilst being one of the most unfunny people on the planet. Someone that couldn't even grasp the tiniest bit of comedy, that literally would not know anything about comedy if it slapped him in the face. It is just the gall of him to say that he's a comedian whilst not being funny. That's what I find funny. Not the fact that he isn't funny.
Well, as long as you're a man.
Yeah, as long as you're a man. It's just like, oh, no, listen. Listen, this is just, I believe I'm a woman.
Again, they don't seem to understand it, right? Like, as long as you're a man. No one is saying that you can't be pretty. No one is saying that you're not allowed to want to be beautiful or to dress up fancy or to do any of that sort of stuff. No one is saying that. What they're saying is that telling your young girl your only asset, your only valuable attribute is how you look. That is a bad thing. That is what people are saying. That it's bad to teach your young girls that beauty is a valuable trait for them. It should be their defining trait, right? Like, that is so simple. And I don't even think they necessarily disagree with it. Like, no one is saying that you can't be pretty. No one's saying that you can't want to be beautiful. No one is saying that you can't dress up nice or, like, you know, wear holsters because they make you feel cool and make you feel like other people think that you look cool, right? No one's saying you're not allowed to do that. You can still wear your holsters. You can still wear your holster, Stephen. You've missed the mark so much just in an effort to kick at gay people and LGBT people. Jeez, man, like, I know you're playing for your audience, but at least try and hide your moves. Try and make it a little bit more subtle. God.
Listen, this is just, I believe I'm a woman. Really? How many transgender individuals...
Why does he say transgender like that? How many why? Oh, just say transgender, bro. It's cool. It's not a funny word. It's like he's saying it as though that'll get a laugh itself. And just please cool it on the trans people. Like, let's be real. How have you gone from let's not call little girls princess to drag queens to trans people? Like, that's just a couple leaps you've made there. It has nothing to do with the original video. This has nothing to do with the original video. He just wanted to go off on a little tangent to fucking make fun of trans people. Like, that was his goal here. He just wants to kick trans people. They had the images of drag queens set up and ready so he could make a nice little hop, skip, and jump to fucking booing trans women. Stephen Crowder, man, like, seriously, we know you're transphobic. You can at least try and make it slightly less obvious. Like, everyone knows by now. You don't need to make it super fucking obvious for anyone. It's so obvious that the only goal here is to make fun of trans people for no reason. This has absolutely nothing to do with trans people at all. Like, trans people aren't even in this conversation. It has got nothing to do with the validity of trans people or anything to do with them. But you're bringing them up just because you don't like them and you want to make fun of them. Okay, I'm not surprised. Bear in mind, I'm not surprised that Stephen Crowder is transphobic. That much is blatantly obvious. What is surprising is just the fact that he doesn't even try and hide it at all. You know, like, just come on, give it a little something, give it a little spice, a little bit of smoke and mirrors there. At least have people maybe question that you're transphobic here. It's insane because his viewers are going to be watching this and seeing this, and there's no way they can't be like thinking this is transphobic. They can't be ignoring it. They just don't care or they enjoy it, which is just insane to me. Mask off transphobia here. We get it. You hate trans women. You hate trans people. Shut the f up.
Are saying, I want to be a woman. Why? So I can become a scientist. No, they want to become a woman so they can have big old fake tits and clown makeup. Let's be really clear about it.
Ha 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 ha. Trans woman, big tits, clown makeup. Trans women can't do makeup. They want big fake tits. Ha 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 ha. Top comedy from Stephen Crowder. Fuck me, man. To be fair, there are trans women who transition and become scientists. They're not transitioning because they want to become scientists, but also they're not transitioning just so they can have big fake tits and wear makeup. It's a little bit more complex than that, isn't it? You know? Like, yes, I assume that many trans women want to have tits. Many trans women probably want to wear makeup, but I don't think that is the core reason for them transitioning. Like, obviously they transition because they feel they are a woman, right? Like, that is why trans women transition. And boiling it down to haha big fake tits and makeup is just like very reductive, and I know it's just for the joke and just for a laugh, but it's not a very funny joke. It doesn't even, again, align with the initial thing of calling your little girl princess. What he's trying to do here is say that, you know, valuing women based on their beauty is perfectly fine when the transgender left wants to do it. Trans women transition into women so they can be beautiful and have big tits and wear makeup. That is how we see women. No, that is not why trans women transition. Not just to be able to be beautiful. There are plenty of men that want to be beautiful. There are plenty of men who see beauty as a defining aspect of themselves. There are plenty of men who wear a load of makeup, right? Like, that's not why people transition. The leaps you've made here just to make fun of trans women are just so transparent and just bad. It's bad. It's just bad comedy. It's just bad. It's not good. It's not good at all. It's not funny. It's just mean-spirited. It's got all to do with the video that you were talking about in the first place, man.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, Bruce Jenner is now Caitlyn Jenner.
I love here that he said Caitlyn Jenner's correct name because it is very, very easy to call trans people by the correct name. And then he has to correct himself to use the wrong name. If you've got to try that hard to be transphobic, it's not coming naturally to you. Maybe just stop, right? If you're trying that hard to offend people, maybe you should stop. You know you're doing it just to offend people. You know you're doing it just to get people riled up, right? If you're automatically saying Caitlyn Jenner, just say Caitlyn Jenner. You don't need to try and correct yourself so that you can make the joke sting or get that little gut punch in there. Just use the correct name. Just use the one that, you know is the correct name and you automatically go to use because it's so easy to call trans people by the correct name.
Is now Caitlyn Jenner is dressed like a Barbie, wearing a corset with those dimensions, and is wearing a princess tiara. Hey, well, no, that's fine. Just not for biological women.
I've managed to get this far in the video, and no, I was right. Steven Crowder genuinely just did not understand the TikTok that he's trying to make fun of, which is hilarious. Steven, no one's saying, and I've said this already, but no one's saying that women aren't allowed to want to be pretty. Just saying that we shouldn't teach young girls that that's the only valuable thing about them. I don't think calling your girl princess will do that, but the core point of the video was to not teach young girls that being beautiful is the only important thing that they can be. So saying that trans women are allowed to be beautiful and dress up and be princesses, but cis women aren't. Who are you arguing against, Steven? Who are you arguing against? Who has said that? Wasn't the TikTok that you watched? Have you made your own little man of straw with which to fight? Is that what you have done? It seems like it, Steven, and I'll tell you what, the little man made of straw that you've constructed doesn't look like any of the people that you're trying to fight at all. It's very obviously a straw man. It's so hilarious that he's either willfully misunderstood this just so he can have a go at trans people, or he genuinely does not understand the very simple TikTok that he watched. I don't know which one is funnier. I genuinely don't. Whatever, it's just very obvious that he just doesn't like trans people and he'll take absolutely any opportunity to have a go at them, even when it doesn't make sense for what he's talking about. I just don't understand how you can watch that video and think that someone is saying women aren't allowed to be pretty. Women aren't allowed to want to feel like princesses. I don't know how you can watch that video and understand that from it, right? I do not understand that because that's not what was said there at all. And bear in mind, I don't even agree with the video that he was reacting to. I critiqued it in this video. I don't agree with it. I feel I did a much better job of critiquing that video than Steven did. That's not even what I set out to do, man. I just wanted to laugh at Steven Crowder being silly.
Well, did you see the example she used? She's like, oh, princess, what do you need? And she's like, why can't we call him scientist doctor? Because I don't call my son, oh, scientist, what do you need?
Oh, that is true, and that's hilarious. That is the first funny thing that has been said. Imagine saying to your little boy, hello, scientist, come here, scientist. I get it. The examples that she used were so bad. Good comedy here. No one's being hurt by this comedy, and it's actually funny. A first for Steven Crowder, I think. It must suck to run a comedy show and to be the least funny person on that show. That must really suck. I feel sorry for anyone that applies to.
I don't. That's the most.
I don't believe he's
thing.
ever been to an accredited university.
Yeah, I don't believe that she has a degree for me to call her a doctor.
Also,
again, I don't believe she has a degree to call her a doctor. I can't call them scientists because they've not been to accredited university. Is your daughter in line to the f***ing throne? No. So a princess is equally f***ing stupid. Come on, guys. You started off with a very funny joke of I don't call my son scientist. Solid, great. And then you let Steven Crowder get a hold of it and, you went a little farther and it became immediately not funny. Good job. The reason that you don't call your kid scientist or doctor is not because they're not scientists or doctors. It's because it doesn't really work as a term of endearment. It doesn't really work as one. None of your kids are princesses. Unless, of course, you're watching this and you are royalty. In which case, hi. I don't like your family very much. But yeah, your daughter's not a princess either, so by that logic, stop calling your daughter princess. Try a little harder. Use your noggins.
And I love how she
Hey,
referred to her
engineer.
husband.
What?
Yeah, her husband as my child's father.
Right.
What is it with labels in you? Like, is that not appropriate? Are you not husband and wife anymore? That's fine. You could say,
Oh my God,
you
I
know,
wouldn't be.
I don't know. Well,
He tried to make fun of her for saying my daughter's father. And it clicked for him that, oh, if they're not husband and wife, then the most appropriate term probably is my daughter's father. Yeah, buddy. You know, maybe think before you speak on that one there. Just watching the wind drop from his sails as he realized that he's making fun of something that you can't really make fun of because it's a perfectly normal thing that people say all the time. That's just hilarious. And so then they start trying to make jokes about why her husband would have left her. Jeez, man. Come on. Just let her be. Let the woman be.
Well, I hope if you leave
I feel
that
for
you
him.
don't try and take any said finances from your child's father, since you're such a strong, independent
yeah,
woman.
that's true.
No.
Steven Crowder isn't funny. Every single time he opens his mouth on his show, he's not funny. He makes the world slightly less funny by simply opening his mouth. Not a funny man. Let's just look at this little joke he made. So I hope if you did leave, you don't take any money from your child's father because you're a strong, independent woman. Not what she said. She didn't say anything like that. She just said that there is more value to women than their looks. The simplest thing. She said, women are more valuable than their looks, and we should try and make sure our daughters understand that. But she said nothing about being a strong, independent woman and not needing a man, and, you know, women don't need to be supported by men ever. Never said that. Never said that. Joke doesn't make sense when you're joking about someone saying women have more value than just their looks.
I want my cake and eat it too.
I want my cake and eat it too. Steven, you don't understand what she's saying. She's not trying to have her cake and eat it too. Nothing she said in that video was contradictory. And again, you've just made something up and then made fun of it, right? You've made up the idea that she's split up from her husband and that she wants money from him to support herself. You've made up both of those things, weren't said in the video. You've also made up that she's a strong, independent woman who says she doesn't need a man. You've made up these three attributes about her and then said she wants to have her cake and eat it too, to make fun of her. This person that you have just fucking invented. You've invented a person to make fun of, Steven, because you couldn't really do a good job of making fun of the woman in the video. Oh my god. That is hilarious, man. That is so funny. It's so funny how bad you are at that. Just invent a person and make fun of them. I don't understand how people really enjoy this show because this clip was insane, genuinely. He started off by watching a TikTok that said women have more value than their looks, then jumped to drag queens to make fun of them, to make fun of gay men, or, you know, LGBT people, jumped to trans women to really make fun of them, and then came back at the end to invent a person so that he could then make fun of that person. Good job. There's not much to say about this. I thought there would be more to this clip than there was. So Steven can't understand a very simple TikTok, but he is, at the very least, transphobic. Okay, that's the end of the video, I guess. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe and comment down below. Please invent a person in the comments and make fun of them. Please go ahead and do that. You know, follow my TikTok and my Twitter and my Instagram and my main channel where I will be streaming weekly again, and all of the other things. My Patreon. My patrons are here. Look at all of them. You can join them. You get these videos early, among other things. I'm very tired. A good thank you to my special patrons, Sarah and Renegade. I think that is all from me. Goodbye.